First time in 2023. Haven't seen you guys in a whole freaking month, but we are back. UFC Best Bets for BetQL with my man Donny Rockett sitting across from me or next to me, wherever I edit him. UFC Vegas 67, January 14th. As I said, we haven't seen fights in a month. How you been, dude? How your holidays been? And most importantly, maybe, how was your betting year of 2022?
We finished the year really well, man. And how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year to everybody out there. Yeah, dude, we finished the year really well. About 148 units on the Patreon, so it was a good year, man. Really good year.
And everybody go follow Donny on Patreon if you don't already. I'll have that linked below in the description of this video. But damn, dude, that's a good year. Plus 100 or anything above plus 100 units. That's a great year
Oh
in my
man,
books.
yeah, it was a great year. You know, a lot of judges' decisions went against us, but some for us. So it kind of evens out in the end. But yeah, it was a really good year.
So for me, I think I was plus like let me look actually instead of making up a number because I have it right in front of me. So 2022, I was plus. Oh yeah, 2022 was a slow year for me, man. I was only plus like 30 units, my slowest year yet. Still positive, but
Yeah.
between all the fifth round upset finishes, between all the robberies and the freak injuries in the main events, I had a rough
Mhm.
year, man. Amanda Lemos, if you remember on that parlay pool,
Oh yeah.
saved my year on a huge hedge out. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for her, I'd be negative.
Yeah. I the worst card of the year for me was that Salt Lake City card with Usman
Oh,
getting their head kick. So that was definitely the worst card. Only losing month of the year was actually October, and yeah, so that head kick cost us some
brutal.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was brutal.
I think I had a 5 or 6 unit max bet on Usman. I was sitting on my couch like, this is great. No, but
Yeah, I'm
that's
considered.
the
Yeah,
sport.
like he was the last leg, and I'm considered like a pussy to a certain extent. Where like I like to hedge out, put the last leg of the parlay as like the bigger favorite. That way, it gives me an option that like to hedge out, but didn't do it, and man, all we
Oh
had to
well,
do
man.
is all we had to do is hit Leon Edwards live at like in the beginning of the fifth round. I think he was like plus 1,500,
Yeah.
and but things happen, man. That's part of the sport. That's why we love it, man.
Best sport in the
Everything
world,
can happen.
and we got nothing but good things to look forward to in 2023. Hopefully, because we already have some big fights on the horizon, and capping us off is, I guess, what you could say the most underwhelming of all the fights, but it's still a good fight night. Sean Strickland stepping in short notice, taking on Nasruddin Imavov, UFC Vegas 67, January 14th on ESPN Plus. Let's me and you talk about best bets for the card. First time in 2023. Been a month. I'm excited. Let's jump right into it. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 bets, one of which is a parlay. Let's start with the parlay.
All right.
Uh, Someone who I interviewed this week, someone who I consider a virtual buddy of mine, Dan Argueta, taking on Nick Aguirre, short notice. Dan Argueta right now, a minus 600 against Nick, who's a plus 425. Obviously, you can't play a minus 600. A lot of people would say you can't even put that in a parlay, but I'm going to anyways. I'm going to parlay Dan Argueta with Javid Basharat, minus 350, minus 600, put that together. Minus 175 to minus 200 range, depending on the bookie. Javid's going up against Matus Mendonca, who I think is a very dangerous opponent, but let me just give my spiel, and then I'll pass it over to you. Dan Argueta, I think he's just going to out-wrestle, outpace, outwork this guy for 3 rounds if he doesn't finish him beforehand. Training at Jackson Wink, training with Damon Blackshear. He's been doing nothing but running, wrestling, and training. So hungry as hell, he's going to get that dub, minus 600. Good line for him. Basharat, on the other hand, I'm so impressed with him. On the
Oh,
feet,
yeah.
on the ground, up against the cage, he seems to outclass everybody he fights. And I think a guy coming off Contender Series who got a dub over a Sheik Ajim, but it's a smaller guy, way less experience. Got to go with Basharat here. So I think you cash that parlay minus 200.
No, I agree. Obviously, I don't advise playing in Dan Arquette. I don't advise parlaying him.
Sure.
We all have our own styles. But yeah, I think I didn't look too much into his opponent, to be honest with you. I was a little bit leaning towards his initial opponent, Bulgarian. But yeah, I think the pace, the pressure will be a bit too much, especially a guy taking the fight on such short notice.
Yeah.
Argetta, if anything, man, he has a crazy gas tank, extremely durable. So yeah, I think he should roll. And Javid Basharat, yeah, that kid's such high level, man. He
Hmm.
from I've been a big fan since the Contender Series. His opponent on the Contender Series was saying bad things about his nationality, and he literally just extend like he was an undefeated guy that he was fighting. I think he might have been an underdog, but I mean like, he just punished the dude. Like he literally just extended he extended the fight just to punish him
Yeah.
over and like round after round. He just keeps improving. He knows how to win. He's extremely technical on the feet. I do think that his opponent is going to be live here early. Mendonca, I think he's going to be live early. He does have big power. He's a good wrestler. He's good everywhere, but I think Javid Basharat will find a way to win. And I think he's live for a finish late, but probably by I'll probably go with him by decision. But I think he could get a late finish as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're kind of just fast tracking Basharat to the top, it seems like. I mean, he's got a win over
Yeah,
Jones and Gravely already, so very
but to be
impressive
honest,
prospect.
yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't understand the UFC's thoughts making this fight. To be honest with you, like like Javid Basharat beat Tony Gravely his last fight. Like, who are they trying to promote in this fight? Like, who are they trying to? I mean, they have a guy that in Mendonca that's 10-0. Both guys are undefeated. Why kill off one guy so soon?
Yeah.
Like, I really don't understand the matchmaking here. But it should be a great fight, and I like Javi to get it done as well.
Yeah, man, two bangers right there back to back to start off the prelims. Well, they're not the first two, but they're early on in the prelims. My next fight, another prelim fight I want to talk about, the only ladies we're going to talk about today. Ketlin Vieira, minus 125, essentially a pick 'em against Raquel Rocky Pennington right now, who's plus 105, and that's on Bet MGM. That's where I'm getting these odds. So depending on the bookie, it could be different. But dude, Vieira at I'm surprised she's anywhere this close to a pick 'em. I think she's better all around here. I think her biggest flaw is herself, her inactivity in fights, how she starts to coast, get comfortable.
Yeah.
But her last fight out, man, her coaches gave her hell for it. She picked it up, turned it around, and I have a feeling we're not going to see that cautious Ketlin Vieira anymore. Rocky Pennington, she has her moments. She's dangerous, very strong. I just think she's going to get technically outclassed here, and at almost pick 'em odds, I can't ignore the better fighter.
Yeah, I do think that Ketlin Vieira is the better fighter everywhere. I think she's more physical. Um, maybe Raquel might have the faster hands, but I do think that you're right. I think Vieira has way more upside in this matchup. She has been her own worst enemy at times, with the volume, not being active enough. But I think Raquel Pennington, she's on a 4-fight win streak. Vieira's on a 2-fight win streak. Whoever wins this fight could be next in line for a title. Raquel, she seemed, pretty, jacked up at the presser and seemed like she's ready for it. But she has been out for a while with the hand injury, and she has a baby on the way apparently. So there could be a lot going on. I mean, it could be a motivation, but we've seen her in her last loss against Holly Holm 4 fights ago, being pushed up against the fence, held against the cage, and I think we could see that here. My worry is just that I do think it's going to be a close fight. If Ketlin Vieira fights to her potential and does what comes out her best version of herself, then she should win this fight. But I do see it being close, and for that, just it's a pass for me in women's MMA, but a lot of variance. But I agree, Ketlin Vieira should get the win.
And due to Vieira's, past whatever you want to say, shooting herself in the foot in fights, I'm not going to bet heavy here. You're going to pass on it altogether. So for people who are in agreement that Vieira might get the win, don't put your bank account down on this. Put a unit down on it. Watch it. If it hits, great. If it doesn't hit, we know we're going to fade Vieira from now on. But definitely a play I'm going to look into a little bit. My next fight, the co-main event of the evening, I know you're very excited to talk about this one, so I'm not going to say much, but Dan Ige right now, again, almost pick 'em odds, minus 125 going up against Damon Jackson, plus 105. I interviewed Damon Jackson this week. Big fan of him now. Awesome guy. very motivational, very inspired, and just hungry in general. But that doesn't win you fights all the time. And I think Dan
Mhm.
Ige big step up in competition, and it's going to be a little bit too much for him. Tell me your thoughts on Dan Ige.
I absolutely agree. I agree with you. And honestly, I didn't understand the pick 'em odds. I mean, Dan Ige is coming off of 3 losses in a row, but people have to kind of put that in perspective. Like, he's fought a level of competition Damon Jackson's never seen.
Yes.
I think he has a speed advantage here. Damon Jackson, he's his former nickname, before changing his nickname to Action to honor his brother, was the leech. So he likes to get a hold of guys and just hang on to them. And in the past, that's helped him. But I just think that Dan Ige is the faster guy on the feet. I think he has much better cardio. I think he'll be able to control where the fight goes. And I actually think Dan Ige gets a knockout here. Damon Jackson's been knocked out several times.
Yeah.
He's been knocked out in fight. He even has knockout losses that aren't on his record because of no contest. But I I, I think that Dan Ige's never been finished. He's the more durable guy here. I don't think that Damon Jackson's gonna be able to count on him getting tired and you know finishing him late like he's done in the past. I like Dan Ige here to get the knockout, probably in the second round, third round, something like that. But I think Dan Ige's just seen a level of competition that Damon Jackson's never seen before. Um, he's training with high level guys. This might as well be, Extreme Couture versus the world on this card. Pretty much,
Yeah.
there's so many Extreme Couture, Javid, the last 3 fights of the night with Puna, Ige, and Strickland. But I think Puna should go out there and set the tone for them. But I like Ige. I think Dan Ige to me, he's my best bet on the card.
And it's something you touched on that I think really is going to be the difference maker here is that difference in competition level. I mean, obviously, Damon Jackson's on a very impressive 4-fight win streak. Charles Rosa outgrappled. Camuela Kirk outclassed. Dan Argueta, short notice, had some trouble, but got it done. And then obviously, Pat Sabatini shocked me. I was
Oh my goodness! I mean, I none of
couldn't believe
us
it.
could have seen. I mean, when did Jackson start throwing head kicks? Like,
I know,
I mean,
right?
of course, Pat Sabatini didn't see it coming because I don't think anyone in the world saw that coming.
No.
And
But
wow,
even with the impressive win streak, if you just put Dan Ige's last 3 opponents into perspective, Evliov, Josh Emmett, Korean Zombie.
exactly. I mean, he's losing the top 5 guys, man.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. I mean, Evloev, I think he could be a future title challenger. I mean, he's just a beast. I mean, and that fight was, I mean, until the knee landed for Evloev, I mean, and rocked Ige. I mean, the fight was pretty close.
It was.
And I mean, Dan Ige, to me, like if I go back and look at his last 3 fights, it's just like small adjustments in each fight. Could have really turned those fights around. I
Yeah.
mean, but his last 4 losses are what Qatar, Korean Zombie, Josh Emmett,
Evliov.
and
Emmett.
Evloev. I mean, that's I mean those guys are the cream of the crop, the top five
And
type guys.
something interesting too, just gaining that experience. If you look at the 3 guys, Josh Emmett, crazy boxer, wild punches, Korean Zombie, kickboxing, submission threat, Evliov, insane wrestling and a chin and durability. He's gotten a little bit of everything in the realm of martial arts against top 5 opponents. You can't say the same for Damon Jackson right now. So
No, I
unless if
mean,
Damon Jackson goes in there, hugs some legs, and somehow drags Ige to the cage or to the mat for 15 minutes, I don't see him getting it done. And like you said, I think a knockout is going to be a good bet here too.
yeah, I think Danny Gay, his speed. I mean, for the power he has, he doesn't have an insane amount of knockouts on his record, but he's a powerful guy. He's a good scrambler. He's a BJJ black belt. I think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns here, and eventually, I see him getting the. I think he'll find the chin and knock Damon Jackson out. So, Dan Ige at the odds, I just don't understand the odds. Obviously, it's MMA; anything can happen, but got him at pick'em odds, and so yeah, Dan Ige is my best bet on this card. It's a tough
And
card for betting, and
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, there's a lot of inflated lines and matchups that can go either way. But to me, Dan Ige should be. I don't know. I would cap him around minus 200. So I think there's a lot of value on him here.
So I almost think Vegas is having a hard time with this card because, I talked about Catlin Vieira and Pennington. That's almost a pick 'em. Dan Ige and Damon Jackson, almost a pick 'em. And then the next fight I'm going to bring up, our main event of the night, Sean Strickland, plus 100, slight underdog to Imavov, minus 120. I don't understand either of those three fights lines. I don't think any of them should be that close. I think Vieira, Ige, and Strickland should all be around minus 200, which leads me to my next point. Sean Strickland should, in my opinion, outlast the early threat of Imavov, take him into deep waters, and jab his face off for a clear-cut decision victory. What do you think happens in the main event?
I mean, this could be, because honestly, I like Strickland straight up as well. Plus 100, minus 105 ish. Maybe this could be a fight that if you think Imavov is going to win, it's probably going to be early. I don't see him winning. I mean, maybe he could squeak a decision, but my biggest problem with him is his cardio. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, look at his last fight against Joaquin Buckley. He almost gave me a heart attack in the third round, and the guy slows down in every fight. I mean, he against Jordan Williams. Jordan Williams, he was getting knocked out every fight. I mean, people act like Imavov has this huge power or something, and he doesn't. He's a very good boxer. He has a good jab. He's long, but so I mean, Strickland has the reach advantage here.
Mm-hmm.
People knock Strickland's defense, but I think Strickland has very good eyes. He sees punches well. He parries punches well, and for some reason, like I was on Cannonier, but I actually thought that Strickland won that fight. To be honest with you,
Right.
because a lot of those shots from Cannonier just weren't landing. A lot of like he was winging up a lot of punches, and because of I guess a little bit of damage on maybe that swayed the judges, but I mean Strickland is extremely technical. I don't think people honestly know what they're looking at when they see it. Like I think they consider him boring, but I mean the skill, the guy is always training, always sparring, and he's always like I mean he fights like he prepares for fights by fighting. That's what he
Yeah.
does,
Mm.
and he sees punches so well. I mean obviously Alex Pereira, but I mean that guy has insane power. Come on. um and another thing to think about, Imavov was training for a southpaw wrestler. He's getting a complete opposite here in an orthodox boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to me, Imavov has to catch him early, or I just think Strickland's gonna run away with it in 3, 4, and 5. And so I agree with Strickland. Maybe if you think he's gonna get beat up early and have to survive and have to win down the stretch, then maybe you could look at live betting it and get better odds, even better odds on Strickland. But personally, I think he should be the favorite in this fight as well. I mean, he has, and it's up at 205 as well.
Yeah.
I think that's also an advantage for him. So
Yeah.
I like, Imavov's probably been dieting for a while. He's been focused on one guy, like I said, a southpaw wrestler. This is a much different style for him. He slows down in fights, and that's my. This is he's been in 3-round fights and he slowed down, and this is a 5-round fight, and that's my I think that's the biggest advantage for Sean Strickland in this fight.
And Sean Strickland's not a guy who you have to worry about gassing or not making it to that 4th round because Sean Strickland, unless if it's Alex Pereira, will most likely make it into those championship rounds where Imavov's going to be at severe risk here. So I'm glad we're in agreement. I think we agreed
And I
on
think
all.
Strickland could also get takedowns too. I mean, we've seen Imavov held on the ground
Sure.
and not be able to get up. I mean, you can't count on Strickland wrestling, but I still think he can just get it done in the boxing.
I think
Um,
he's
you know,
better, bigger, and badder everywhere this fight goes.
yeah, I agree. I agree,
So let's
especially in the
hope.
5-round fight.
Yeah, for sure. Let's hope we're in agreement on 1, 2, 3, 4 bets. Let's hope we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bets hit. Well, I guess 3 bets because you're not tailing the Ketlin bet. But
Yeah, just on
regardless,
Ige and Strickland.
I like when we're on the same page. It makes me feel a little bit better about my bets. But Donnie, that's all I have for today. I got to go interview Corey McKenna in a few minutes.
Oh,
who just is coming off a
Congrats to
great
her on a
victory.
recent win. Yeah, a
Yeah,
recent
right.
upset. Yeah.
It was a boring one, but she got it done
Yeah,
nonetheless.
but she took out the you know, the heartbreaker.
Oh, so I was like, oh, watch your words, but heartbreaker's good. Heartbreaker's
Yeah,
that's
I'll
fine.
keep it nice.
That's fine. But Donnie, thank you very much for joining me, my man. I will link your social medias below. Everybody go follow Donnie, hit his Patreon, and like I said, January 14th, this Saturday, after you watch Tapped Out, tune in to ESPN Plus, UFC Vegas 67, Sean Strickland versus Nasruddin Imavov. Donnie, my man, kick ass and have a great day, bro.
You too, buddy. Thank you.